As I said before, whenever you are given a problem, make sure that you read it through, okay, and understand the most important thing out of the problem description. And if you look at this, is you need to understand what type of information you would be giving. Okay, here you are giving two files, right? You are giving a course grade file, okay, and you try to read through the description of the input. Say here you would have ID and you have five test grades, okay, and when you for this, you would further understand here is, if you read through the whole document, you would understand there are exactly 5 test grades. You don't have to worry about, say whether or not there is any input error, whether or not there are 4 grades or, 3 grades or 6 grades. You know that you have exactly 5 grades here. Okay? That's about the description of the input, for course grade. And now, if you look at the other one, for the student records, okay, and that's another thing that you are going to get that has the student ID, student name, the credit hours that the student had already taken, and the GPA, okay. And you will understand that the student record, you have the ID here, that would be related with the ID in the course grade part, right? In the course grade part. And what you have here, yes, you have the output requirement. Okay, that's what you need to do. Okay, so that's what to do. I explained before, if you don't know what to do, there is no way you know how to do, right? Because if you don't have a goal, there is no way you can reach the goal. Okay. And here there is a little bit more information, with the assumption that you can have. I also give you the formula, how could you calculate the GPA here. Okay, that's the formula that you need to do. Okay, that's the plain English description. What you can do is you can translate it into Java program. Okay, and if you look at this, we need to come up with a design. And look at this. The one thing that I definitely need to have would be student record. Okay, I need to have a student record. And I need to have a student record that has the ID, has the name, has credit hours, and I have GPA. Okay, that's something that you must have. Okay, that's what I'm going to do here. I'll create a class that's called student record. And here, I need to come up with the attribute. What are the attributes? Okay, we have ID. Okay, if you really like to have the credit hour to be double, I have no problem with that. Okay, let's change that to double. Okay, and after I have this, essentially, all you have to do is you just encapsulate this guy. And what I will do is I will come here and generate the getters and the setters. Select all. I did this last time. Okay, it's very, very straightforward. And here, I like to create a constructor with this 4 pieces of information that I'm going to read from the keyboard. So I'm going to generate the constructor, and I'm going to use all of these. And that's the first step. I need to model this problem. Okay, I need to get the input from the keyboard, from the file. Then I need to read into one record. Okay, one record. That's for one line, per line. Okay? And let's just stop here, for the student record. And let's move on to another one that we need to read the course grade. Okay, we need to read the course grade. And if you think about this, okay, And you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And if you look at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you think about this, you know potentially there will be more course grade than fewer course grade that you have than the student record, because you may have a student who do not take a class. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to what? So let me ask you this. Will each student have a course grade? Not necessarily. But each student will have at most one course grade. It will not have two when you try to process this problem. Okay? Is that understandable? You will see that the student here, each ID would appear at most one time. I have a 7 here. I have 6 here. You know there is no repeat. Okay, you know there is no repeat. Okay? So definitely, okay, you should be able to record the information that you have in the student record part. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an array. Okay? Let's do an array. That's no problem. Okay? And then I'm going to create essentially a counter. Okay, a counter. And what I'm going to do in the counter? The counter would count how many grades you have. Okay, so it's important here is that's course grade. We see the following fields. Okay? That's what we are going to do. Okay? Because, after you read all the student record in, and, as I always do is, because you have a collection of the student record, I'm going to create a student record manager. So that would handle a collection of the student records. Okay? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a class that's called Student Record Manager. Okay? What I'm going to do here is I have a list of a student record. And to the import, I'm going to create a constructor that's called Student Record Manager. What I will do, I will do exactly the same thing as I did last time. I see records is equal to new array list of student record. And I handle the import. Okay. Now, I have the constructor. Essentially, if you think about this, when you have the student record manager, what you want to do is you would need to provide these functions. That I'm going to add a new record. Does that make sense? I'm going to add a new record. Okay? So essentially, whenever you need to add a new record, what you have the ID, and you have the name, and you have the credit hours, and you have the GPA. Because we know there is no duplicate, so it would be very, very easy for us to do the adding, right? What you are going to do is you are just going to say records dot add. I'm going to create a new student record. And with the ID, name, credit hours, and the GPA. And that's it. And what else I need to do is when you need to read the grade information in, you need to find the proper student that's already here, okay? And I'm going to put the grade information to the correct student, okay? Based on their ID. Okay? So I like to create another one that called add grade information. Grade. Or we see grades. Essentially here you have the ID and followed by 5 grades, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have, we see double. Are all these all integers? Or yeah, they are all integers, in fact. It really doesn't matter. If you use double, there should be no problem. We see grade 1, double, grade 2, double, grade 3, double, grade 4, and double, grade 5. Okay? I get 5 grades here. Now, what do you need to do? You cannot just add them in. So what I'm going to do here is I need to do the searching. I need to search which student this ID belongs to. Okay? I need to find this grade. You have this collection of grades. Okay? I need to find which student, which specific student this grade belongs to. Then I'm going to add to this part. I need to add this grade information here. Okay? I'm going to say in I is equal to 0, I smaller than records dot size oopsie, and I'm going to have a student record R is equal to records dot get I. Okay. I see if R dot get ID is equal to the ID that you specified here, so I found the student. Okay. So what I will do is I will put the information in. Okay. So what I need to do is this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to see R dot add grades with this G1 G. Let's do this. Add grades with G1, and then I add this gradient. Okay, and because this is not defined, let's go ahead and define this guy. So we create this new method, and we need to add the grades in. So what we are going to do is first we like to say if this dot grades, whether or not it's equal to null. If it is equal to null, which means this one really doesn't exist. What we need to do? We need to create the array at this time. We see this dot grades, because you have at most 5 grades. So what you are going to have is new double 5. I create an array with 5 elements. Okay, I'm going to set the count is equal to 0 at this time. Okay, let's see this dot count so that there will be no confusion. And after this, when you try to add the grade in, we just say this is a grade instead of using G1. All I have to do is I would do this dot grades at count is equal to the grade that you just specified, and I'm going to increment the count after that point. I like to use an array at this point. I do not like to create a student record with 5 fields that are called G1, G2, G3, G4, G5. Okay? It doesn't help. Although you say, oh, array is complicated, it's not complicated. It just simplifies things.